Good, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Where are the rest of my people? Okay, yeah. Come on, people. First, we want to thank you all for being here so much in support of us and our voices as students, and also in support of Palestine. We just want to start off by saying this is peaceful administration. This is peaceful, okay? Don't shut us down, okay? Okay, yeah. But honestly, that would, if they did shut us down, that would just prove our point that we are students being silenced, and we won't stand for that, and that's why we're here. Also, if we hear some comments from people outside of our lovely turnout here, don't acknowledge them, okay? So, let's start off with a chance. Okay, so, free Palestine!
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 Woo! Give it up for yourselves! All right, we gather here today to shed light on the challenges faced by us as students who often find themselves silenced or marginalized due to censorship, especially surrounding Palestine. It is crucial that we recognize the importance of providing a safe space for all voices to be heard, especially Muslim and Arab, considering the rhetoric that is being pushed by the United States and Western media in general. By doing so, we not only uphold the principles of freedom of speech, but we also foster an environment that encourages intellectual growth and understanding.
I love this. I want her here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aya. First, I would like to introduce Shahmir. He's a junior here at RIC, who is a proud Muslim and with a Pakistani background, and he is passionate about justice and oppression.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Shamir. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming to our school to support our oppressed voices as Muslims and Palestinian students. We are gathered here today to talk about being suppressed on this campus, for wanting to share our concern about the genocide that is currently happening in Gaza and the West Bank. We were not allowed to speak about the atrocities being committed to the Palestinian people. Our voices will not be suppressed. We have the right to speak, teach, and learn about the injustices in this world. In 1947, the United Nations split Palestine into two separate states, an Arab state and a Jewish state. A year later, Palestinians were forcibly expelled from their homes when the settler colony of Israel was formed. Fast forward to now, Israel owns 97% of the land, while the indigenous Palestinians only own 7% of their own land, known as the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. As of today, more than 20,000 Palestinians, including men, women, and children, have lost their lives. 70% of their lives are women and children, both Christian and Muslim. As a Muslim student at Rhode Island College, I would like my voice to be heard and not to be treated like a nobody. When the president told us that we can't have any event like this, I felt unsafe and unwelcome at this college. Muslims should not be treated like second-class citizens. We deserve to have our voices heard and have our needs met. I was very hurt by the fact that this was done by President Warner. The president said that he doesn't want to look bad, and this is just a subject that is complicated. Why is it complicated when it has to do with brown bearded men or hijabi women? Why is it that as we Muslims need to have our words censored? When it comes to Ukraine, everyone stood by them. Schools actually stood for a moment of silence for them. Why? Is it because they are considered to be more civilized and the Western media portrays them? No! We need our voices to be heard, and we all need to speak up. We pay tuition, we pay for books, and we pay for classes at Rhode Island College, and we are being censored by who? President Warner. With all due respect, we will not be censored. Free, free Palestine!
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 Thank you again for everyone coming today. I really appreciate everyone being here, and I really appreciate all my fellow colleagues who have worked really hard, not to only host this event, but to have each other's back and be supportive for each other. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Assalamu alaikum for the Muslims here and everyone. I want to thank all of you for coming out today. Your presence here is crucial. You are part of a movement that is growing every single day, which is fighting for freedom and justice. You are on the right side of history. Again, my name is Aya. I'm a junior at RIC, but RIC is only a piece of my story. Before coming to RIC, I lived another life, one of war and destruction. I was born and raised in Syria, and I lived through 2 years of the war. 2 years of non-stop bombing, 2 years of losing friends and family members. Education was taken away from me. We were living in constant fear of whether or not we'll survive the next day. I was only 8, wondering why the world is letting this happen to us. What crime did we commit to have one side of the world living their everyday life while we're suffering to find water or to drink or food to eat? I question if the world can see the fear on my face. I question if they can hear my cries every night. So you understand that watching the ongoing genocide in Palestine is not merely something I watch, but something I understand intimately. I felt the least I could do is hold on an educational session on the history of these people, of this land, of the war. But President Warner, decided to cancel the event and instructed the RIC administration to take down all the flyers I have put up. Freedom of speech is an illusion on campus. No, we don't have a thing called equality at RIC. Rather, we are subjected to censorship for simply speaking about our history. I would never have imagined as a kid in Syria that one day my voice will be censored as an American college student. I never would have thought that there would be cowards trying to silence us about a genocide. But that is what has happened. President Warner, when you censor Palestine, you are censoring our stories, our families, our people. The very things that have made us the people we are today. How privileged is Jack Warner for not allowing us to talk about the murder of Palestinians? Half of them are kids. Because of this, because it will ruin his reputation and the college's reputation. Speaking about Palestine somehow ruins his reputation, like he stated.
Shame!
Coward! There's a saying, they tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. When you restrict and cancel our attempts at student voice, you think you are silencing us. But what you don't know is silence is not an option for us. For our people, especially not when speaking against injustice, any kind of injustice.
That's right.
If any of you experienced one day out of my 2 years living in Syria, you would not be silenced about this genocide. You would use every opportunity to speak up and educate your surroundings. College is meant for our voices to be heard, so no, President Jack Warner. We are not going to be silenced about our history. Or the ongoing genocide in Palestine. I have a voice. Each one of us has a voice, and we should use it. Silence is not an option. Silence is violent, and and we will do whatever it takes to be the voices of the voiceless civilians in Palestine. Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Now Farah, she's a junior at RIG, and she'll be speaking. She's Palestinian, and she's very advocate about Palestine and the human injustice.
Guys, I think you know me already. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. How are you all doing? Good, alhamdulillah. All right. As you know, my name is Farah. I'm a Palestinian, a very proud Palestinian, also a very proud Muslim. And I'm here representing myself as a student at Rhode Island College. As a person who has an ancestry that is fully Palestinian, I have always spoken up about the Palestinian struggle. The struggle of my family, the struggle of my grandparents and my great-grandparents who were forcibly displaced and became refugees in 1948, along with 750,000 Palestinians. Every day of my life, as my Palestinian blood rushes through my body, I am more and more passionate about the land of my ancestors. My land, the land of the 750,000 Palestinians who were forcibly displaced, the home of the indigenous Palestinians. While I always dreamed about going to live in my homeland, I knew that my family and I couldn't. Palestine is under occupation by a settler colony. As Palestinians, we are not allowed the right to return to our indigenous land. Shame. Shame. This is why I'm so loud. My grandfather, who is older than said settler colony, deserves to return to his home. Yes. Although I always wanted to go and finally live in Palestine, I always appreciated the United States for what it was. I appreciated having one thing in particular: freedom of speech. A right that not even the government, not even the Supreme Court could have taken from me. However, during this time, it has been made abundantly clear to me that we are allowed free speech until it affects the pockets and reputations of those in power. Shame. While the United States has been working extremely hard to censor as much Palestinian content and solidarity as possible, college campuses are also following this order to save their reputations, including Rhode Island College. They are actively censoring us, Palestinians. As students who wanted to talk about the history of Palestine, we were met with the harsh reality. Those in power at our college wish to censor our desire to spread the truth about Palestine, to spread its rich and deep history, its lively villages and beautiful culture. We wanted people to know Palestine, not for what the occupation has made it, but for what it truly is. A beautiful home to its indigenous people. By not being allowed to share this story due to the shabby excuse of lack of security and planning, our struggle to highlight the beauty of Palestine became even harder. While trying to convince the president to allow us to have our teaching event this week, we grew frustrated by the typical, almost robotic answers he gave. My eyes flooded with tears, and I tried with everything in me to resist allowing them to fall in front of the very person attempting to silence me. I was frustrated. Attempting to silence the struggle of my family, attempting to censor the truthful narrative. There were claims that this event wouldn't be fair to the other side by the president. To that I say, it is not my job as a Palestinian who has felt the oppression while living in the United States and while visiting my family in Palestine to speak for the other side. And if said side wanted to speak, I'm sure they would not have received this type of pushback. We as Muslim and Palestinian students have a right to speak and a right to safety. Nobody should be trying to force us to censor what we say and how we say it. This oppression has lasted too long, and we will not adhere to the countless attempts at silencing and censoring us. The more you try and silence us and our movement, the louder we will get. We are fighting for justice. We are fighting for the right to we are fighting for the right to feel free and speak freely on and off campus. President Jack Warner must do more to ensure the safety and comfort of all students. President Jack Warner must allow students to speak freely, especially about educational history. President Jack Warner should not be silencing us, and we will not be silenced. When Gaza is under attack, stand up, fight back. Let's try that again. When Gaza is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? When Gaza is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Adam, who is a freshman.
We're gonna do a couple chants real quick.
That's right.
Alright, you guys ready? From Palestine to Mexico, border walls have got to go. From Palestine to Mexico.
Border walls have got to go.
From Palestine to Mexico. From Palestine to Mexico.
The border walls have got to go.
Alright, the second one is brick by brick, wall by wall, apartheid has got to fall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall, apartheid has got to fall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall, apartheid has got to go.
Brick by brick, wall by wall, apartheid has got to go.
Brick by brick, wall by wall, apartheid has got to fall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall, apartheid has got to fall.
Assalamu alaikum. And peace be upon you guys. And thank you guys for all showing up here today. And I'm here to talk to you as a Palestinian Muslim. I'm not here to delve into discussions about religion or change anyone's beliefs, but I'm here to speak to the human in all of you, and the part of you that transcends past political and religious beliefs and sees families dying and understands that this isn't just a Palestinian problem, but it's a human problem. Let me tell you what it is like to be a Palestinian, what it is to resist a narrative that paints us as terrorists and describes us as subhumans, while the other side, while the oppressors are being described as the victims. My bad. These words hold power, and it further dehumanizes a group and desensitizes all of us to the suffering that they're going through. My bad. And these words are deeply embedded in the apartheid regime and in their actions that we see on a day-to-day basis. This year has been a challenging one for all of us Palestinians, not just the ones in the States, but even more so for the ones back at home. Thank you, boss. Why must we live with fear? Why must we live with a target on our back? As we discuss progress, we find ourselves regressing more so than ever. If this is truly a country that values freedom, then it should stand for those principles. And if we find it falling back, then it is our duty to hold it accountable, and initiate the change that we seek. For change to manifest, we must move beyond mere words of hope and start asserting our will. It is not enough to say that we shall, but rather we should be saying we will. It's not about someday, but it is about today. And I just wanted to read to you guys a verse from the Quran that I felt like relates to all of us. And Bismillah, I'm going to read in Arabic then in English, if you guys don't mind. وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ لِلَّهِ فَإِنْ انْتَهُوا فَلَا عُدْوَانَ إِلَّا عَلَى الظَّالِمِينَ. And fight for them on until there is no more oppression, and there prevails justice and faith in Allah. But if they cease, let there be no hostility except to those who practice oppression. Alright, one last time. Stop the killing, stop the crime. Israel, out of Palestine.
Stop the killing, stop the crime. Israel out of Palestine.
Stop the killing, stop the crime. Israel, out of Palestine.
Stop the killing, stop the crime. Israel out of Palestine.
Stop the killing, stop the crime. Israel out of Palestine.
Stop the killing, stop the crime. Israel out of Palestine.
Alright, now back to Farah.
Okay. Woo! Oh my God. Let's not sleep over here, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Occupation no more.
1, 2, 3, 4. Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is an apartheid state.
5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is an apartheid state.
1, 2, 3, 4. Occupation out the door.
1, 2, 3, 4. Occupation out the door.
5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is an apartheid state.
5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is an apartheid state.
We want justice. You say how?
We want justice. You say how?
Lift the siege on Gaza now.
Lift the siege on Gaza now.
We want justice. You say how?
We want justice. You say how?
Lift the siege on Gaza now.
Lift the siege on Gaza now.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
When Gaza is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When Gaza is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Justice is our demand.
Justice is our demand.
No peace on stolen land.
No peace on stolen land.
Justice is our demand.
Justice is our demand.
No peace on stolen land.
No peace on stolen land.
Thank you all. Give it up for yourselves. Next, I would like to introduce Nada, who would like to say a few words about Palestine.
Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. My name is Neda. I am a writer, teacher, and proud Rhode Islander. You just heard from impassioned speakers about what is happening in Gaza and what we should do about it. The focus of my talk will be a little different, as I'm not just speaking to you as a Palestinian, but also as an alumni of Rhode Island College. My time at RIC was far from perfect, but it was a valuable learning experience. Much like RIC students today, besides struggling to find parking, I took classes, I worked, I participated in campus life, and also founded the RIC chapter of Students for Justice in Palestine. Yes, in 2005, I'm old, RIC had a SJP. I learned much as a secondary education English major, but also as a student activist, alongside fellow multiracial, multi-ethnic, and multi-faith students. We hosted speakers, held film screenings, and tabled during the student activities fair. In fact, it was here in this very quad that I was called a terrorist by a Zionist student. Loudly enough from across the quad that it made me feel like time stopped, because everyone froze and silently stared, bracing for the worst. In the post-9/11 Islamophobic climate of that moment, this was not something to be taken lightly, and I was grateful that the Student Affairs Office handled that situation with care and grace. I bring this up because when I was asked to support this event today, I was informed of the lack of care and absence of grace from RIC's current administration. It bears reminding that RIC is a public, state, educational institution with a long and proud history of providing affordable, quality education and support to working class young people and non-traditional students. It is not a place of censorship. In fact, part of what made my time at RIC so valuable were the diverse voices I was surrounded by in my courses, the uncomfortable but necessary discussions in the dorms, or the robust debates on the impacts of colonization in my home away from home, the Unity Center. It was disheartening to hear about these current students' negative interactions with the administration, and it is certainly not the Rick that I remember. The Rick I remember would wholeheartedly embrace the challenge of educating its community about the ongoing genocide and colonization in Palestine. They would question the media propaganda that conflates the political ideology of Zionism with the peaceful religion of Judaism and discourage fear-mongering. The Rick faculty I remember would rise to meet this moment with courage and curiosity by openly expressing concerns and support. The Rick I knew would join with its fellow local institutions, Providence College, URI, Brown, and others, in keeping true to its mission to foster intellectual curiosity and prepare an educated citizenry for responsible leadership. Something I learned on this campus is that this happens by supporting safe and open discourse on current world events and encouraging information sharing, not silencing. Current and future students should feel encouraged and supported to express their First Amendment rights in all educational institutions. The ongoing since 1948 genocide in Palestine is not just a free speech issue as we've experienced here, but also a climate issue as Israel continues to drop unlawful white phosphorus bombs in Palestine and Lebanon. Shame. It is a public health issue as we have seen in the intentional destruction of hospitals and the sniping of doctors and surgeons who refuse to leave their patients behind. Shame. It is a child development issue as childhoods are ripped away and replaced with unfathomable trauma. It is also a financial issue. It breaks my heart to see an increase of unhoused neighbors this winter, to know our government is choosing to siphon our hard-earned tax dollars overseas to fund the billion-dollar settler colonial army of Israel instead of investing in communities here. I want to see those billions support Rhode Island infrastructure, healthcare, and parental leave. That money should be funding local classrooms and student loan forgiveness and towards direct payments to Rhode Island's neediest families. All the demands that we have been gaslit to believe are too lofty or too complicated. Guess what? They're not. Between 1951 and 2022, the U.S. was funneling over $300 billion to Israel, where in addition to the technologically advanced military, folks there get universal health care.
Shame, shame, shame.
Isn't it time to focus our attention and money on taking care of our communities here in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
My final point, we all know that RIC prides itself on preparing tomorrow's teachers to meet the challenges of the 21st century. Well, this is it, a big 21st century challenge. I hope that moving forward, faculty, administration, and students rise to meet this challenge head on together with care and grace. Palestine will be free.
Thank you so much, Neda. So we're gonna do one more chant. Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crime.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
No more
money for Israel's crime.
Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crime.
Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crime.
Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crime.
Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crime.
Thank you so much. First, I would like you all to acknowledge after we finish here, maybe look at the long list of names of those who have been died in Gaza. They'll be on the sides. Keep in mind that these are not even a fraction of the people who have been killed. Next, I would like to introduce Kivel, who will be saying a poem she wrote about Palestine.
Bismillah. To all the Muslims out there, Assalamu alaikum. And to all the Jewish out there, Shalom. And to all the Christians out there, hey, how are you? And to everybody else, thank you so much for coming, for your support. So hello to everybody that is here. We've all watched in horror the images that have flooded our Facebook feeds and Twitter and YouTube. What's going on over there in Palestine has been very difficult to watch, and it's frustrating that we don't feel like there's much we can do, but this is something we can do. We can gather together at a protest. Myself personally, last Monday, I decided I'm going to sit down and write a poem in honor of the Palestinian struggle. I was amazed with how patient they have been, how resilient they have been, and their perseverance in the face of such adversity. So writing a poem was the least I could do. It is called The Patience of the Palestinians. An old Jewish man apologized today for the dehumanizing, barbaric way that Israel is relentlessly bombing away, killing hundreds of innocents every day. I said, no need to apologize. You didn't cause this genocide. Zionists are the ones with all the lies to cover up their brutal crimes. Would we demand that Christians say they are sorry for Timothy McVeigh? Would we blame the Bible for the KKK, the Crusades, the Holocaust, the LRA? It's past time we learn to separate the Zionist from true Jewish faith. The Torah certainly doesn't tolerate Israel's cruel apartheid state. Old Palestine had passports, markets, and currency, cities and beaches, beautiful universities. People of three faiths live together in harmony, a far cry from how things are going currently. Palestine was such a beautiful land. Jews, Christians, and Muslims lived hand in hand. The Arabs sadly just didn't understand what the British Empire had slyly planned. Israel began with the Balfour Declaration, England's attempt at Muslim extermination. They tricked the Arabs with promises of their own nation. They lied. A free Palestine was self-determination. But alas, just like with the Irish and the Aborigines, racist English policies hurt India and the Chinese. South Africa was hit hard, as were the Burmese, all broken promises and false guarantees. That empire of the sun left colonies of misery. Even America was founded with settler mentality. The British profited greatly from African slavery. Nearly every major conflict traced back to one country. The Holocaust saw 6 million die. Never again was the rallying cry. One would assume that the Jews who survived would use their own history as their guide. The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising of 1943, brave Jewish resistance fighters against the Nazis, vastly outnumbered, little hope for victory. Their single largest revolt went down in history. World War II ended, liberated at last. The Jews needed to settle somewhere and fast. America and Europe rejected their request, turned their boats away, and leaving them aghast. Jewish refugees showed up at Palestinian shores. Don't destroy our hopes, their large white sign implored. With nowhere else to turn, Palestine opened her doors. The Arabs welcomed the survivors of Europe's Second War. Slowly but surely the tide started turning. The British mandate expired, and without a warning, being a guest turned into a deep yearning. The fires of greed in their hearts started burning. All of a sudden, Zionists took charge and took control. Part of the land was not enough. They wanted the whole. The state of Israel was founded on land that they stole. Of course, the nearby nations could only think of revolt. A land without a people for a people without a land. It's a bald-faced lie, I tell you. You must understand. It's rhetoric, deception, dishonest propaganda. From 1948, Israel planned, but Palestine will withstand. The Jewish faith says, let justice prevail. Yet in the Holy Land, the Zionists have failed.
They kill, they steal, they leave a destructive trail. They even put innocent young children in jail. 75 years of illegal oppression. Israelis stealing all their possessions. Murders, arrests, torture, and aggression. Funeral procession after funeral procession. Just put yourself in Palestinian shoes. Trust me, it's not a life you would choose. From the cradle to the grave, they are being abused by Zionists falsely claiming to be rightly guided Jews. The 7th of October is a normal reaction to decades of neglect and worldwide inaction. The killing that day is a tiny fraction compared to Israel's mighty military actions. Why are we still discussing proportionality after 75 years of savage brutality? Should Palestine's patience last eternity while the world forgets about our humanity? Enough is enough, the world must wake up. Children's bodies shouldn't be stored in ice cream trucks. A father pulling his daughter's legs, but her head is stuck, wedged between cement. Enough is enough. When IDF terrorists gave the strict orders, 30 minutes to evacuate Al-Nasser Hospital, even the doctors. Premature babies slowly rotted in incubators, bones protruded from decaying flesh, and soiled diapers. We all saw the father who held his kids to pieces in bags, the dying children whose skin looks like torn bloody rags. Israeli bombs versus children's limbs is quite savage. Hard to watch, harder to look away from the awful carnage. When that mom's body was wheeled away on the stretcher, her little son stood beside her, feeling quite wretched. Do you think his future aspirations are still to be a dentist? No, of course not. He will devote his life to avenge her. We all watched in pain at the young grieving mother's face as she held her shrouded infant in a tight embrace. She softly whispered words of love that truly resonate. At least we can take solace that we know this baby's fate. Then there is the grandfather of 3-year-old Reem, who galvanized the world with his big bushy beard. The Western media associates that Taliban beard with fear, but he destroyed that stereotype with his genuine tears. In videos of Reem's short life, we hear her sweet laughter. She runs from her grandfather and he chases her faster. She was killed by an Israeli airstrike, yet another disaster. But her grandfather's patience is a lesson in the hereafter. His sweet goodbye to her lifeless body broke the internet. People worldwide marveled at his tenderness as he held her precious body in his arms and kissed her and said, "I wished that she was only asleep, but sadly she is dead." Every bomb that falls just strengthens their perseverance. Palestinians are the masters of an art called resilience. They will never give up, and their strong adherence to our faith, Islam, makes all the difference. That is Israel's mistake. They will surely realize that grenades and guns will not save more lives. If they worry about terrorism, they should raise their eyes and look in the mirror at their own sneaky lies. Netanyahu can throw bombs and drop white phosphorus, but he doesn't know that we have a stronger power with us. Allah is our sustainer, our helper high above us. We do not live on the earth just to get prosperous. Muslims submit wholeheartedly to the will of the Creator. This life is only a test that we accept from the originator. Netanyahu will never succeed by being the exterminator, because the one above us is the only ultimate illuminator. This genocide is different because for every life he took, a new video pops up on Twitter and Facebook. People across the world can easily take a look at war crimes, murder, and the records of his book. What book, you ask? We all have 2 angel scribes recording the good deeds and bad deeds of our lives. Brave journalists are offering their lives as sacrifice to record clear evidence of Netanyahu's war crimes. Israel is worried about the TikTok generation. Netanyahu can't hide behind a lack of information. All his atrocities are exposed for condemnation. His words, his actions, his bribes, his administration. No electricity, no food, no water, no fuel. How can a democratic government be so cruel? They said Palestinians are less than an animal. In Islam, even animal abuse is considered abominable. So when will Netanyahu be charged with breaking international law when there is no mistaking the crimes he committed, the resolution violations? When can we depend on the United Nations to enforce the unalienable basic human rights? Fairly, no difference between blacks and whites. Equality and freedom are two things that unite peace-loving people with justice in their sights. From the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, we will never allow another catastrophe. Faithful Palestinians are not going to flee, but we have a part to play, you and I, we. We must stand up, loudly and proudly demand that international organizations take a firm stand, that governments stop bribing and seek to understand money is not worth people's lives and their land. Speaking of money, did you recently realize how much oil wealth underneath Gaza lies? Don't think Biden doesn't have his greedy eyes fixated on the aftermath of destruction, his prize. So far, it's been 67 days of bloody war, 20,000 dead and thousands unaccounted for. Does the US and UK want them to suffer even more, to pad their pockets with riches galore? Follow the money trail and you will see. Israel just offered an oil contract to England's BP. British Petroleum, one of the world's largest companies, is about to steal the wealth that belongs to Gaza's sea. Open your eyes, America. Take a good look around. Israel's popularity is quickly losing ground. As increasingly large protests across the world abound, facts are uncovered and the truth will be found. For all the non-Muslims standing here today, I ask you to stop and think before it is too late. Islam is a religion of peace. Won't you contemplate why, when our children die, Muslims say God is great? I sincerely invite you to go read the Quran. Go learn about Palestine, the Holy Land. Find out what it means to be a woman or a man who knows that everything is part of Allah's plan. Islam is an instant blessing, a righteous path to follow. It teaches us our actions must be sincere, not hollow. We must stay steadfast, resolute, not succumb to sorrow. If we all work together, there will be a better tomorrow, inshallah. If I may say a quick word, most of you guys are college students, right? Yeah. You guys take tests, quizzes? Yeah. I have one for you. Okay, fact. Ready? Yeah. Fact. Over 10,000 children have been killed by Netanyahu's forces since October 7th, making it the deadliest conflict for children in modern history. Question. What does Israel do to sweet children dreaming in their beds? They annihilate. What do they do? They annihilate. What do they do? They annihilate. Question. A fact. Prior to the hostage release, there were over 300 innocent women and girls languishing for years without charge in Israeli jails. Many still remain to this day. Question. What does Israel do to women and girls in Israeli jails? They violate. They violate. What do they do? They violate. What do they do? They violate. Fact. 4 days ago, on Friday, Israel rounded up 40 innocent men and boys, stripped them to their underwear, and filmed them pretending to surrender. Shame! Shame! This is in violation of Article 3 of the Geneva Conventions, which Israel ratified in 1951. Question. What does Israel do to half-naked Palestinian men lined up in rows? They humiliate. They humiliate. What do they do? They humiliate. What do they do? They humiliate. Fact. At the beginning of October, there were a confirmed 74 elderly Palestinians being held in inhumane conditions in Israeli jails. Question. What does Israel do to the feeble elderly? They incarcerate. What do they do? What do they do? Fact, since the 7th of October, 63 journalists have been slaughtered. Never before have we seen this type of brutality to hide war crimes. Question, what does Israel do to brave journalists documenting the truth? They assassinate. What do they do? What do they do? Fact, Israel lies to the Western media. They lied about killing Shireen Abu Akleh and admitted it 4 months later. They lied about the days of the week on that hospital calendar and became the laughingstock of the internet. They lied about looking for tunnels under Al-Shifa Hospital. The previous Prime Minister, Ehud Barak, admitted to Christian Amanpour that Israel built the tunnels under the hospital 4 decades ago. What does Israel do to the Western media? They manipulate. They manipulate. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have to rhyme before everybody realizes that the Palestinians are out of time. We need to wake up and call for a ceasefire. Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Just a quick last round of chants from me. Sorry. Free, free Palestine, occupation no more.
Free, free Palestine, occupation no more.
Free, free Palestine, occupation is a crime.
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 I'm just gonna introduce Nancy real quick. She got her master's here at Rick. She just has a couple words for you guys.
Okay, this is off the cuff. So, I got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree here at Rick, and I'm actually also an undercover Muslim today because I have my hat on and not my hijab. That's because I'm here as a human being. I'm not here as a Muslim or a Christian or a Jewish person. I'm here as a human being. I think one of the things that bothers me most is that Rhode Island College has students come from all around the country, really, to get their master's degree in social work. And that's what I got my master's degree in. And one of the first things that you learn as a social worker is how to do grassroots organizing. And for this administration to trample on these students that were trying to do that is ridiculous. I don't even know how we can continue to have a master's social work program here on this campus. I mean, that's really all I wanted to say. And this. Without my free speech right, I have nothing left. And it starts here. Oh, we need to do something about campaign finance reform because, let's face it, we're just spitting in the wind until we fix that, right? Because they're not going to listen until we take away their money.
Thank you so much. Okay, I want to point something out real quick. Ted, who is from administration, was standing there for a little while listening. And I figured, I kind of respected that because he was listening at first. But I think Ted got a little cold because he went inside and he's not listening anymore. Shame. Yeah, two-faced Ted. Okay, thank you so much. Actually, let's chant that. Two-faced Ted. Two-faced Ted.
Two-faced Ted!
Two-faced Ted.
Two-faced Ted!
Two-faced Ted!
That might raise some eyebrows, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, so next I would like to introduce my mom, proud Palestinian, Reem. She's an alumni, but she's also gonna be a student starting January.
You guys, I created a monster. Welcome everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Hello. I will say hello in every language if I could. Hola. I know that one. And marhaba for the Arabs here. This is on a whim. Many of us today speaking have not even prepared a speech, by the way. But we talk about Palestine so much. We talk about our freedoms. We talk about all of that, in an easy way because we're so used to it. So my name is Reem. I am an alumni. I graduated in 2010, and I'm going back to school. And guess what my degree is in? Justice Studies. Guys, at Rick, that's where I learned justice and how ashamed I am to hear that they're being very unjust to these kids. Shame. With that being said, I kind of whipped up something really quickly just for my notes, but I could probably speak easily. I'll try to make it short. We all watch the numbers of people dying day by day. I watch people on a daily basis being pulled under the rubble. Every day they look worse than the next, and I don't understand what they're using. I'm not a chemist. I'm not a physicist. All I know, it's bad stuff. With that being said, one thing I did learn is other than Gazans having the most phenomenal faith, let me tell you, every Muslim in this audience has a little more faith now because of Gazans. There are so many people who have converted just by reading the Quran because of Gazans. Because let me tell you, Islam is not very far from what you truly believe. And I know that because you're all standing here. So one thing I did learn about Gaza is that it's full of men that love their wives. I learned that there are moms that are beyond what a mom should be and what a mom should endure. I learned that there are women who love like no Shakespeare character. I watched a man write on a white cloth. You know the white cloth that they wrap the dead people in? And he writes to his wife. He wouldn't allow anybody to write. You know how they were writing the names on it to bury them? He wrote, "My love, my soul, my heart, my life, till we meet again." When I tell you I wept probably for 2 days just watching that. Like the other scenes weren't bad enough, but just to show the emotion. Then the next one was a woman, this was literally yesterday, who has only been married for 6 months. She's a young girl. She was holding her husband's shoes really tight, and she's kneeling in front of him. And somebody asked her, "Why are you holding your husband's shoes?" And she wept and said, "That's all that's left of him." Finally, the mom. How many moms in the audience? How many moms? Give a hand to the moms. Because only a mom would understand what I'm ready to say right now. The mom who holds her son wrapped in white cloth and says to her mom, she looks at her mom and says, "Mom, I swear it was so hard to conceive him. I had 57 shots of IVF." She said, "Mom, I'm tired," and started weeping. Well, the other day, for a glimpse of a second, I knew how she felt. For a second. We were at a rally. They made these little baby dummies. So they were asking us to each hold one. Well, I thought I was brave enough to hold one, to be honest. But the mom in me, the minute she held that baby, I literally saw my babies. And you can only imagine what happened. I still cannot talk about it with a straight face. So can you imagine moms who buried 2, 3, 5 kids? I can't. So for all the people that say we know how they feel, we do not know how they feel. All that the media feeds us is lies. All I want to ask you, just think for 1 second. How many lies are they feeding us other than the Gaza? How many things are they telling us that are untruthful? One of the things that I came to this school for is, well, I wanted to ask, why are you getting an education? Is it for the money? Is it so you can do what you love? Or if you're from the Middle East, you have to because your parents told you so? No matter what your reason is, I know it's not so you can be censored. I'm going to leave you with a fact. Do you know that in Gaza, it is the highest educated people per capita college graduates? They have the highest doctorate degrees per capita. I just wanted to leave you with that because people think that they're not civilized for some reason. Well, guess what, America? They're very civilized. And then just one last thing about Congress. Did you guys notice the past 2 months? We all know Congress can never agree on anything. Why all of a sudden Republicans and Democrats both agreeing on the annihilation and the genocide happening in Gaza? Shame. Very shame. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate your support. And we love you. Truthfully, we love you. Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Justice for Palestine!
Justice for Palestine!
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reem. Now, one last chance. Brick by brick, wall by wall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall.
Apartheid has got to go.
Apartheid has got to go.
Brick by brick, wall by wall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall.
Apartheid has got to go.
Apartheid has got to go.
Brick by brick, wall by wall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall.
Apartheid has got to fall.
Apartheid has got to fall.
Let's give it up to our last speaker, Lubna from the Palestinian Feminist Collective.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you all here today. I'm really happy to be here mostly because I am in awe, so inspired, and so moved by the tenacity, the courage, the energy of Farah and of all the students here. We should give them a big round of applause for putting this together. And that's actually what I want to talk about today. So, you know, this is a university. We're supposed to be doing education here. So there's no better education than people coming together, talking and exchanging ideas and information and thinking about history together. This is what real education means, right? This is what real community building and education mean. Yeah. I want to talk about the Palestinian concept and practice of samud. Who here has heard of this word, samud? Raise your hand if you've heard of this. Okay. This word samud loosely into English translates as steadfastness. But it really has developed as a concept in the Palestinian political culture and tradition out of our prisoners movement. Okay? And in the long history of the Palestinian concept and practice of samud, prisoners taught us, what do you need to do inside of your own self and inside of your own community to prepare a person to undergo the most brutal, vicious forms of torture and to refuse to surrender under that torture. So this has to do with the experience of Palestinian prisoners being beat up, deprived of food and water, being hung from ropes in the history of torture that Israeli soldiers have inflicted upon prisoners. Attempting to force Palestinians under interrogation to give a false confession, to snitch out their friends and their family, right? And so in the prisoners movement, they really developed this idea and concept of what it means to practice samud. What does it mean to pull from the deepest part of your spiritual self, of your emotional self, of your responsibility to your people, of your responsibility to your ancestors, of your responsibility to your land, to feel that you are important enough for the body to withstand torture in order for the soul to live with integrity, for the soul to continue on with integrity. Now, in the last few years, we saw Palestinian prisoners exercised this samud in an incredible display of hunger strikes. It's not Palestinians alone who have done this. Black revolutionaries have enacted hunger strikes. Irish revolutionaries protesting colonization in Ireland have enacted hunger strikes. The hunger strike is the sacrifice of the physical body in exchange for the soul to live with integrity, in order to send a message to the colonizer that no matter how hard you try, your force will never condition the interiority of my psyche as a Palestinian. We will never surrender. Now this concept of samud, we're seeing this here. We're seeing this concept of samud displayed in the watermelon, okay? This watermelon, who knows the story of where the watermelon comes from? Why are we holding watermelons? Okay, we have some people. Censorship, yeah, but Palestinian artists in the first intifada, the first uprising, who were creating watermelon pieces of art, had all of their art confiscated. And they were told they could not paint the colors of the Palestinian flag together. Shame. And when they asked the Israeli soldiers, well, what would you do if we just painted watermelons? The Israeli soldiers said you would still be arrested and it would still be confiscated. So after that moment, Palestinian artists vowed to continue painting the watermelon just to show the Israeli regime, no matter how hard you try to silence us, it will never work. Our young sister back here has a sign that says Western media couldn't manage to silence us. You think you will? Okay. This comes from the deep political, cultural, spiritual understanding, concept, and enactment of samud. We are a people who have undergone 100 years of colonization. Every few years, we have mass exoduses. Our refugee camps have been shelled and destroyed. Our children have been arrested. Our people have been deported. Our homes have been demolished. Our children have been shot. Okay, our families have been separated. We then undergo another war, and then another one, and another one. We are under a military occupation of 56 years in the West Bank, and a siege of 17 years in the Gaza Strip. And until today, Palestinians are refusing to comply with the terms of their surrender. That comes from the deep commitment that only an indigenous people has to the land. Colonizers can never, ever be willing to sacrifice their bodies for a land. Colonizers would never be willing to sacrifice themselves for their family and their community. We are seeing people in the Gaza Strip today practice samud when they're willing to share one loaf of bread with their neighbors. We are seeing the Palestinian journalist Wael Dahdouh practice samud when the day after his children and wife were killed, he woke up to report for his people in the Gaza Strip. This is an enactment of the Palestinian concept of samud, and it is this that is mobilizing the rest of the world when all the forces of empire are cracking down on us, telling us that we don't have the right to speak, that Palestinians don't have the right to life. It is the courage and the inspiration to defy authority, to defy power, to defy colonization, to defy racism, to defy white supremacy, to defy Zionism that Palestinians are demonstrating and reigniting the long radical tradition of the black radical tradition in the United States and of the indigenous movements of the United States, and reminding us that power never, ever surrenders unless it's forced to. So today and every day, we stand with Palestinians not just because they're breaking our hearts, not just because our hearts have shattered over and over and over again for 75 years and over again every single day for the last 60 plus days, but we are standing with Palestinians because they are teaching us what it means to love life, land, love, and liberation, and to allow us to understand what it means to be people who operate with courage and integrity and power in our numbers here in the United States, across Turtle Island, and across the world. And thank you very much.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Luna. Okay, I know we're all freezing, and we promise we're done. But one more time. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, Go warm up, people. Let's go. Thank you.